Dun 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 dun. So this is what is inside Jeff's head. This white area over here is my recently discovered brain tumor. Well, most of the white part is the tumor. Some of it, the white part, is the swelling that is associated with the brain tumor. Anyway, on November 18th, I was diagnosed with a type of brain tumor called an oligodendroglioma. A biopsy was performed on November 20th, so my skull was opened up and they took a bit of my brain out. And the full results of the biopsy have recently come in. Did pretty well, more or less, as it turns out. As my neurosurgeon says, you would never want something like this, but if you're going to have a brain tumor, this is basically the flavor that you want, as he puts it. So I have, like I said, an oligodendroglioma. It's a stage 2. That's the lowest, or grade 2. That's the lowest grade for this type of tumor. But with the biopsy results that have finally come in, I have the 1p19q co-deletion. Anybody who has a brain tumor, or I guess most people who have a brain tumor will know what that means. It's a good thing. It means, in the simplest terms, basically, statistically adds years to my life, and also suggests that I have a much higher chance of doing well with chemotherapy and the radiation. The standard course of treatment for an oligodendroglioma tumor would be surgical removal, followed by chemotherapy and or radiation. Unfortunately for me, my tumor is not operable. It's really large, and it's in front parietal lobe, pretty sensitive real estate, I'm told. My tumor is 8 centimeters by 6.3 by 5.4 centimeters. So if you're Liberian, Myanmarese, or American, I'll break that into imperial. That basically is about 3 1/3 inches by 2 1/2 inches by 2 inches. So it's about the size of a small lime. Anyway, it's a really, really big brain tumor. I keep hearing people who would know a thing or two about tumors using the word huge. So anyway, my tumor is too big to be removed completely. I even asked my neurosurgeon, though, what about a partial resection? And he said even a partial resection he would advise against. He said basically there's more than 50% of my tumor that he would not even want to touch, and he just says, the risks of surgery greatly outweigh any possible benefit that might come from it. And I went for the proverbial second opinion, and that came back the same. Just saying, you can't remove the whole thing, and even a partial, just way more risk than any possible benefit. So that's that. So anyway, my wife has put this YouTube channel together for me, just as a way for me to keep friends and family up to date with, how I'm doing, how treatment's progressing, etc. I don't know if this will be particularly interesting or helpful to anybody else. I think it'll be helpful for me just to talk about what I'm going through, because it definitely is a bit of it's an experience psychologically, that's for sure. But I'm hoping this will maybe be helpful for other people who are going through something similar, or for people who know somebody who's going through something similar, because it really is a mind-bending experience to learn that you've got a brain tumor, and then just to start processing everything that means. I'm married. I have a boy who will turn 7 on January 2nd. We're expecting a baby daughter to join us on January 15th. And to suddenly learn that you got a brain tumor, and at first not to have any idea of how much time you have left is traumatic, actually. And even now that I have a relatively realistic idea of how much time I've got, you know, it's a lot, you know, a lot going on in the mind around that. I'm told that my time is measured in years, not months, which is nice. I've also been told, though, that I am expected to die of this tumor and not of old age. So without being told directly, I have been led to conclude that making it to retirement age would be a feat. So I turned 45 in April, so to make it to 65, basically you know, it's long odds. I'd be surprising a lot of doctors if I'm around to collect my pension. But you know what? I have put a lot of money into the Canada Pension Plan, and I've put a lot of money into Social Security, and I don't like the thought of the government getting my money. So I aim to stick around for just as long as I possibly can and collect my pension checks and see my babies grow up. So anyway, yeah. So since surgery is not possible, what we're going to do is chemoradiation. So basically I will undergo chemotherapy and radiation concurrently. They will happen at the same time. The chemo will be by pill. It's called Tamidar, and I think I basically have to take the pill an hour before the radiation treatment, which will be 5 days a week for 6 weeks. So yeah, this is starting Tuesday, December 29th. I'm in for a really fun time. It's going to be an awesome 6 weeks, I'm sure. I'm expecting all sorts of interesting side effects, and fatigue and nausea and blah 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 blah. A little list of the side effects that you can expect with radiation therapy treatment. Immediate reactions: common tiredness, skin reddening and irritation, temporary head loss. This beautiful hair. Uncommon, worsening of neurologic symptoms. I hope that is uncommon because my left arm is already kind of not useless, but not nearly as useful as it used to be. I've got weakness in my left arm and really very diminished dexterity in my left hand. I can't type anymore, and it's difficult to grasp things, etc. Anyway, rare immediate reactions. Brain hemorrhage, bleeding in the brain, brain swelling, stroke. I hope that's rare. Loss of speech. I really hope that's rare because I like talking. Extremely rare, death. Anyway, long-term reactions, permanent hair loss, uncommon, loss of memory and ability to think clearly. Some might say that's already happened years ago. Anyway, swelling of brain tissue, rare, partial or total blindness, deafness, paralysis, stroke or brain hemorrhage, extremely rare, permanent damage to brain tissue or blood vessels, total debilitation of bone and cartilage, tumors caused by radiation. Anyway, yeah, and chemo, forget what the chemo side effects were, hair loss, blah, blah, blah. One of the chemo possible side effects listed as rare, but leukemia. So I had a patient training session with a pharmacist yesterday at the hospital, and I asked her about the chances of leukemia, and she said, oh, very, very rare, less than 1%. And then she said that if I were to develop leukemia, that would basically mean that I had lived much, much longer than, I should be expected to live. So anyway, so I guess if I get leukemia, it means I beat the odds. So, yay. Anyway, so yeah, that's where things are. I'm not the only one going through this, so I'm hoping there's someone else out there with oligodendroglioma, and maybe they might, sort of leave a comment, and maybe we can sort of, talk to one another and sort of exchange notes, support one another, encourage one another. And like I say, hopefully this will be of some value to another person going through this, or somebody with a family member or a friend who is going through it. Because it is definitely not something that you could prepare for. It's certainly not something you would ever think to prepare for. It's just all of a sudden it's like, you got brain cancer. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy thing to suddenly have on you. So anyway, yeah, chemoradiation starts next week. I guess this is about the point in a YouTube video where the host would say, subscribe here, subscribe here. So go ahead, subscribe here, and also somewhere down here, I'm going to leave a link for the song of the day. And the song of the day is just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. So until next time, aloha and mahalo. Take care.